Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the show here at Prime Sports World. I am your host here, Israel Rivera, to be joined possibly by TJ Hopkins and others here, but wanted to start the show a little early today. Please like, share, and subscribe to the podcast here at Prime Sports World as we ramp things up for Week 11 and review the Week 11 schedule and go over the Monday Night Football season as well. I have the wrong graphics up here today, ladies and gentlemen. I will fix that here shortly. But anyways, if you guys are here at Prime Sports World, man, go ahead, like, share, and subscribe. Please like, share, and subscribe here at the podcast at Prime Sports World. And in case you missed us, like I said, you can catch us on a bevy of streaming platforms where podcasts can all be heard, ladies and gentlemen. So you don't want to miss that hot content as Prime Sports World brings the heat, ladies and gentlemen, 24/7, 365 days. But yeah, we have a big one tonight as well in the Chiefs and Eagles games that should be starting up here within the hour. So you guys don't want to miss that hot content, from us tomorrow as we drop that review as well on Monday night for Monday Night Football here. I actually have the graphics up for tomorrow's content. So I was a little ahead of myself on that one. But the first game that we're starting with here, first game, Thursday Night Football here, Ravens-Bengals, as the Bengals drop 20-34 to the Baltimore Ravens. The Bengals moved to 5-5, and the Baltimore Ravens moved to 8-3 as they claim stake in the as the sole leader in the AFC North. Joe Burrow didn't last long in this game, got hurt, had a wrist injury, season-ending wrist injury. So hopefully that he has a speedy recovery here. There we go. There goes the real graphics right there. But yeah, Joe Burrow started the game off, 11 to 17, 101 yards, one touchdown, but then just could not, after that one touchdown drive, just could not grip the ball right with his wrist. I'm assuming the Bengals are going to have something. The NFL is going to have something to say to the Bengals about that, not including that on the injury report. We haven't heard anything about that this past week here, coming up. So hopefully, that'll be that. We'll probably hear that after this week from the NFL. Jake Brown, 8 of 14, came in field admirably for 68 yards, one touchdown. Joe Mixon, 16 carries, 69 yards, no touchdowns, but he did have the one touchdown through the air. Jamar Chase with the garbage touchdown there at the end. And then it was all Baltimore Ravens. Lamar Jackson, 16 to 26, 264 yards, two touchdowns. He was sacked 3 times, but Gus Edwards, 12 carries, 62 yards, 2 rushing touchdowns on the day. I believe Gus Edwards is one of the leaders in rushing touchdowns this season. I believe he's right there behind Raheem Mostert, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, shout out to Gus Edwards for the amazing season he's had. He's turned into one of the best goal line backs in the NFL. Lamar Jackson, 9 carries, 54 yards. Keaton Mitchell, 8 carries, 33 yards. Keaton Mitchell, didn't have the game that I thought he would have, but he's, still he had that one long 21-yard run where he got most of these yards, but he's a guy to watch out for the rest of the season, as Justice Hill has pretty much gotten phased out of that backfield. Odell Beckham with a great game, four catches, 116 yards. Zay Flowers, 3 catches, 43 yards. Nelson Aguilar with the touchdown, along with Rashad Bateman on a beautiful scramble out to Rashad Bateman by Lamar Jackson. Then Nelson Aguilar put on the Jets for his touchdown, his 137-yard touchdown. But yeah, they lost Mark Andrews. There's a few injuries in this game. Mark Andrews was lost. We don't know the time frame for his injury. Joe Burrow, obviously he's lost for the season. But this has been a around this time, injuries happen. And I want to say this: the Baltimore defense. I mean, they are just ridiculous. I mean, Roquan Smith, he put a hit. If you guys haven't seen it, he put a hit on Joe Mixon that was heard probably from the upper deck. Patrick Queen with 11 tackles, Roquan Smith with 10 tackles as well. But yeah, the Baltimore Ravens defense is really for real. They're probably if not one of the best defenses in the NFL. I think the Baltimore Ravens are legit Super Bowl contenders. Finally, well, they have been in the past, but I think this legit have an opportunity to win the Super Bowl this season or go on a long playoff run this season. And for the Cincinnati Bengals, without Joe Burrow for the rest of the season, your season is pretty much in doubt now. You were going on a little bit of a run there towards the around this time. You had just won a few games. Just caught fire after dropping a few early on in the season. And it looked like Joe Burrow was just starting to get healthy again. They started off 1-3 to start the season. Then they went on a 4-game win streak. They lost a tough one to the Texans at home, and then they lose this one, and then lose Joe Burrow in Baltimore. Becoming 5-5. But this is a team that they're gonna have to rely on Jake Browning now and see if Jake Browning could possibly get them to a wild card spot. I think Jake Browning knows the offense. I think they're gonna be reliant heavily on Joe Mixon, which they should have been reliantly heavily on Joe Mixon as well. But hopefully, I think right now, I think the Cincinnati Bengals season is definitely in doubt with Jake Browning at the helm. There's just there's no confidence in me to feel like this team can be a playoff team in the AFC. There's just no confidence in me. So that's just it. Shout out to my main man Christian Simpson from the Daily Blitz blog. Catch him on live today. You know what? Actually, I dropped the link to the podcast where you can catch Christian live as he covers the Monday Night Football game here tonight. He'll be live on Twitch, so you guys don't want to miss that hot content as well. But yeah, Baltimore, that was Thursday Night Football, and then on to the first game of the 12 o'clock window of Week 11. We have the Los Angeles Chargers going up against my Green Bay Packers. Yes, I'd go ahead and drop that link for Christian here. You guys can catch Christian live there on golly, that's a hell of a link here. I'm gonna have to probably delete that. But you can go ahead and catch Christian live. I'll go ahead and drop that the correct link for you guys to yeah, that's not the right link to watch Christian live on Facebook or on YouTube or whatever, Twitch tonight. So I'll go ahead and put the link up on that so you guys can watch that. But anyways, moving on to the Packers and Chargers game. Yes, Joe Burrow, not Justin Herbert, 21 to 36, 260 yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions here on the day. Austin Eckler, 10 carries, 64 yards. Justin Herbert was the leading rusher, 8 carries, 73 yards. Keenan Allen, 10 catches, 116 yards and a touchdown. Another great performance on what looks like to be an all-pro year for Keenan Allen. Stone Smart had an electric 51-yard touchdown catch as a tight end. That was a beautiful catch and run by that young man. And then on the Green Bay side, Jordan Love, first 300-yard passing game of this season, 27 to 40, 322 yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. He looked absolutely fantastic. Jaden Reed was the leading rusher, 3 carries, 46 yards. A.J. Dillon, 14 carries, 29 yards. Aaron Jones really wasn't a factor in this game with 4 carries, 14 yards. Dontavian Wicks was the leading wide receiver, 3 catches, 91 yards. Romeo Dobbs, 5 catches, 53 yards, and a tutty. Christian Watson with another touchdown catch in this game. But it was just a lot of spreading the ball around. Jaden Reed got some love, A.J. Dillon, Luke Musgrave, Christian Watson. Everybody caught a ball here for the Green Bay Packers. I believe there were 10 guys that caught a pass in this game here. Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yep, 10 guys caught a pass here against the Chargers for the Green Bay Packers. So that's spreading the wealth for Jordan Love as they become 4-6, and the Chargers become 4-6, dropping 2 in a row, losing the 2 teams in the NFC North, 2 close ones. They lost last week 41 to 38 to the Detroit Lions, and they lose to the Packers this week 23 to 20. Yeah, this game, obviously I'm a Packer fan. I caught a lot of it while watching Red Zone, as everybody else probably does. And here I'm gonna go ahead and drop that link to the live stream for Christian, so you guys can catch him live on the Nerd Spot here, because the link I dropped was not the correct one. So there goes the correct one below all that other jibber jabber from Facebook. So you guys can catch Christian on this link here live as he covers Monday Night Football on the Nerd Spot here on Twitch. So you guys don't want to miss that content from Christian. I'll drop the Daily Blitz blog for Christian as well. So you don't want to miss that hot content as well, as I believe he dropped one of his preview articles. He's pretty much dropped it right now for you guys to read on the Kansas City Chiefs and Philadelphia Eagles game tonight. So you guys don't want to miss that hot content from Christian as well. There, covering all bases. But back to this game for the Green Bay Packers and the Los Angeles Chargers. Yeah, Green Bay Packers, man. Hey, the defense showed up. I do want to say this. I think Matt LaFleur was a little too conservative at the end. We'll get to some conservative play calls. I'm trying to kind of stall off a little bit so TJ can join me, because I know he's got a lot to say about his Chicago Bears. But we'll get to the Bears. The Bears are down in a few minutes, so TJ should possibly be joining here soon here with me. But anyways, Matt LaFleur, I mean, he was super conservative. He could have sealed the game. He ran 2 or 3 run plays to end the game, and basically gave the Chargers the ball back with, basically enough time for Herbert to go down and make some plays. And man, Quentin Johnston dropped a big catch down the sideline. I mean, it was literally it was a dime down the sideline. He probably could have caught that and scored a touchdown with the athleticism that he has, but he literally dropped it. And he was targeted 6 times, only brought in 2 receptions. And I've said this about Quentin Johnston before the draft at TCU. A lot of body catches, not a lot of hand catches, and that's what we like to call hamburger hands, where you're not able to catch the football with your hands, and you catch a lot of catches with your body. Quentin Johnston, hopefully he sews that up, but that was a big drop. And we possibly could be talking about the Chargers winning this game today. So, the Green Bay Packers, kudos to them getting off the schneid. They, had dropped, 5 in a row or 4 in a row. They dropped one last week. But in the last 6 weeks, they were 1-5 in the last 6 weeks after coming out the season strong at 2-1. And dropping the one in Atlanta, they dropped. That was a close one. They dropped a close one to the Raiders, dropped a close one to the Broncos, and they dropped a close one to the Steelers. So, the Green Bay Packers are a young team. They could very well be, they could very well have 7 wins on the season, but they don't. So they could very well only be 7-2 on the season, because I think the Falcons game could have been a win. The Raiders game definitely could have been a win. The Broncos game definitely could have win, and the Steelers game definitely could have been a win. So you're looking at the Green Bay Packers possibly being 8-2 on the season, if they're able to pull out all those close wins. But needless to say, good win for them. Rashawn Gary had a pretty solid game. In my aspect, he had a sack there at the end that pushed the Chargers back to, I believe it was like a 4th and 20, if I'm not mistaken. At the end of the game there. So nice to see that the defense stepped up there after not stepping up, last week, letting Kenny Pickett go down. In pretty much all season, the defense hasn't really been stepping up here. Yeah, Rashawn Gary with the 1 sack there at the end. That was a big-time sack. But they were getting pressure on the quarterback. 5 pressures, 2 for Gary, 2 for Preston Smith, 1 for Carl Brooks. The Green Bay Packers defense definitely stepped up in a big way. And what does this mean for the Chargers dropping to the Green Bay Packers, dropping 2 close losses back to back? It means what we all are thinking. Brandon Staley's job is pretty much if that seat hasn't been hot, that seat's scorching hot right now. I think if they make the playoffs, Brandon Staley's out, in my opinion. But they do have a tough schedule, coming up. I mean, you got the Ravens. It doesn't get any easier. You got the Ravens. I mean, you got a gimme against the Patriots, but then you play against the Broncos, who just beat the hottest team in the NFL. They're probably now the hottest team in the NFL, with I believe 4 or 5 straight wins. Then you play the Raiders. Going to Las Vegas and play the Raiders. Then you got to play the Bills. You got to play the Broncos, and you end the season with the Chiefs. So it doesn't get any easier for the Chargers. After week 11, they're going to have to step it up and really put their best foot forward if they want to make the wild card here, because they're not winning. I don't believe they're winning the AFC West this season with their record now. But Brandon Staley, is pretty much he's out of there. I believe after after this season. So that's just my consensus on it. Moving along to the next game on the slate, we got the Pittsburgh Steelers going up against the Cleveland Browns. Pittsburgh Steelers dropping this one 10-13 on the road in Cleveland. This game was an interesting game. I mean, Kenny Pickett, another underwhelming performance, 15-28. 106 yards, no touchdowns, no interceptions. Jaylen Warren, man, 9 carries, 129 yards, a touchdown. Najee Harris, 12 carries, 35 yards. But Jalen Warren, had that 74-yard long touchdown. I mean, he was just pretty magnificent. Or he's been pretty good this season. And then George Pickens, 4 catches, was the leading receiver for them, 38 yards. And on the other side, Dorian Thompson-Robinson, DTR, 24-43, the rookie quarterback, filling in for Deshaun Watson for the rest of the year. 0 touchdowns, 1 interception. Kareem Hunt, 12 carries, 36 yards. Jerome Ford, 12 carries, 31 yards. And a touchdown. Dorian Thompson-Robinson had a couple big plays there, especially that last drive to set Dustin Hopkins up to kick the field goal. Like the moxie out of that kid. I mean, he's still a young rookie, still learning how to play. And this Cleveland Browns defense is elite. They had 3 sacks on the day, 9 tackles for loss, 4 quarterback pressures. Kenny Pickett, was just not comfortable at all in the pocket. And what does this mean for the Cleveland Browns? They're 7-3. I mean, their defense is going to take them to the playoffs. Their running game and their physicality is going to take them to the playoffs. And, when it comes down to it, the Pittsburgh Steelers they're 6-4. This is a hell of a division, the AFC North. Just to point that one out. But when it comes down to it, the Cleveland Browns defense is elite, and the Pittsburgh Steelers they should have won this game, in my opinion. I just think that when it's all said and done, Kenny Pickett has to play much better than what he's been playing. That's just what it comes down to. You get the ball. With the last 2 minutes in the game, you get the ball with 2 minutes in the game, and you go 3 and out. That's unacceptable. I don't care. It was a punt fest in the second half, but you go 3 and out, to end the game in a 2 minute game. You're the more experienced quarterback. You're the guy that should be leading the team down, running the clock down, scoring a field goal. But no, it was the rookie Dorian Thompson-Robinson. He had a hell of a drive. 8 plays, 48 yards, set him up for a field goal. Elijah Moore, 15-yard pass. Kareem Hunt for 5 yards. I'm just reading off the plays. It was 2nd and 5. He threw short right to Amari Cooper for 8 yards, right? A pass to David Njoku for 11 yards. He was on point on this drive. He legit was he completed 4 passes on this drive. And big passes too. In chunks as well, and he moved the chains and he moved the football, and that's all you want out of your quarterback when it's money time. And Kenny Pickett didn't show that. And I really seriously, I've been telling Steelers fans, I mean not Steelers fans, but I've been saying this on this show that they're gonna have to look for another franchise quarterback because Kenny Pickett is not that guy. He is not that guy. I am sorry, Steelers fans, but that Kenny Pickett, that is a good defense. That is you have a good running back. You have a good running back room. You have solid wide receivers. And he just is not the Kenny Pickett that we are used to seeing in college at Pitt. And it's been a learning curve for him, and he just hasn't learned. And so, when it's all said and done, I think the Pittsburgh Steelers are seriously going to be thinking about either trading for a quarterback in the offseason or drafting another quarterback in the offseason or moving up in the draft to draft one of those quarterbacks in the offseason. But something needs to be done. I don't think Kenny Pickett is the guy. I don't think they go into next season thinking Kenny Pickett is the guy. And that's just me. But great win by the Cleveland Browns for sticking it out. And moving to 7-3, but this is a close AFC North. I mean, the Ravens got 8 wins, the Browns got 7 wins, the Steelers have 6 wins, And this is the tough. And the Bengals have 5 wins. I mean, we're talking about 2, 3. The Browns are one game out. The Steelers are 2 games out. The Bengals pretty much season is in doubt with no Joe Burrow. They're 3 games out. So it's really going to be a 3-team race within the AFC North. But we were talking about it's a 4-team race. This is a close division before Joe Burrow went out. Yeah, solid. Solid. But I think this is Baltimore Ravens division to lose. And I honestly don't have much else to say about the Pittsburgh Steelers. They need to. They're going to have to do some soul searching at the quarterback position. Moving on to the next game, we got the Arizona Cardinals going into Houston to play the Houston Texans as they lose to the Texans 16-21 or 21-16. May I say, as they move to 2-9 on the season, and the Houston Texans surprisingly moved to 6-4. Kyler Murray, 20-30, 214 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. As he gets more comfortable here, James Conner, 14 carries, 62 yards. Kyler Murray, 7 carries, 51 yards, and a touchdown. They rushed for 123 yards as a team. Greg Dortch was your leading receiver for the Arizona Cardinals, 6 catches, 76 yards. And Rondale Moore with a beautiful 48-yard touchdown catch and scamper to the end zone here. And then on the other side, C.J. Stroud, not his greatest game. He still threw for 336 yards, 27-37, 2 touchdowns with 3 interceptions on the day. Couple of them were bad. He only threw 1 interception in his first 10 weeks, and he throws 3 in this game alone in week 11. So looking much like a rookie here. Devin Singletary, 22 carries, 112 yards, 1 touchdown. I believe this was his first 100-yard game, possibly of his career for Devin Singletary. So kudos, shout out to Devin Singletary. Tank Dell was the leading receiver, 8 catches, 149 yards, 1 touchdown. I believe Noah Brown was out as he was the leading receiver last couple weeks. He was out of the game. Nico Collins, 7 catches, 65 yards, no touchdowns. Dalton Schultz with another touchdown. Actually, hold on, let me repeat that. Bobby Schultz' cousin, Dalton Schultz, with a touchdown in this game as well for C.J. Stroud as the Houston Texans move to 6-4. As I said, Blake Cashman with 19 total tackles in this game. He was all over the field in this game here. But for what this means, the Arizona Cardinals, I mean, yeah, it was nice to have. It's nice to get Kyler Murray back. It's nice to get him back. At some point, when do you say, okay, last couple games, maybe you say, hey, Kyler Murray, we're done. You showed me enough. You came back. You've been playing. He's been playing solid. He accounted for 2 touchdowns in this game. But when do the Arizona Cardinals shut him down and don't risk any injury? We'll see as the season progresses for the Arizona Cardinals, as their season is pretty much over with this season, as they possibly may want to, lose some games to, get a better draft pick at the top of the draft. And then for the Houston Texans, nobody thought that the Houston Texans would be 6-4. We all thought that, the Jacksonville Jaguars, obviously they're in first place, 7-3. We'll get to them. But the Houston Texans at 6-4, we did not think that they would be second place in this division. We all thought maybe Indianapolis, especially with their defense, with Anthony Richardson. We thought Anthony Richardson would be healthy at this point. He's not. But the Houston Texans, DeMeco Ryan, what he's done with that defense and that offense, C.J. Stroud is definitely your franchise quarterback for years and years and years to come for the Houston Texans. And they're only 1 game out of first place for the AFC South. This is a 2-team division between the Jacksonville Jaguars and the Houston Texans. I am very surprised that they have exceeded all expectations for me, the Houston Texans. And they have a big game coming up this week against the Jacksonville Jaguars. They won their first game against them 37-17 in Duval. Now they play them at home here next Sunday here in Houston. So this is a big game right here for the division. If they can possibly sweep Jacksonville, they have pretty much the tiebreaker hold over them, and they'll have the sole lead of the division. So the Houston Texans, big game coming up this Saturday for both franchises, for the Jacksonville Jaguars and the Houston Texans. But a big win for C.J. Stroud and company, and DeMeco Ryans and company, as the Texans move to 6-4 on the year. Next game we have is the Tennessee Titans going up against the Jacksonville Jaguars as they drop one. They're 34-14 in Duval. The Tennessee Titans move to 3-7 on the season, 0-6 on the road, as the Jacksonville Jaguars move to 7-3 on the season, with a big matchup, like as I said, going up against Houston in Houston. This game, Will Levis has come down to earth a little bit, 13-17, 158 yards, 2 touchdowns. Really hasn't, he's played solidly enough. But it's just been slow to get the offense going for them, and pretty much his 2 touchdowns that he had were pretty much in garbage time when the game was pretty much over with and done for in the third and fourth quarter, as Jacksonville had a 28-point lead or 27-point lead at that time. Will Levis, like I said, 13-17, 2 touchdowns. Chris Moore was leading. Derrick Henry and Chris Moore both had 38 yards on the ground. DeAndre Hopkins was the leading receiver, 4 catches, 59 yards, and the 1 touchdown. Jeffrey Simmons caught the other touchdown for them. And then on the other side, we got Trevor Lawrence, 24-32, 262 yards, 2 touchdowns. Had a pretty solid day. Travis Etienne, 14 carries, 52 yards. Calvin Ridley, what a day he had, 7 catches, 103 yards, and 2 touchdowns on the day, as the Jacksonville Jaguars beat the Tennessee Titans. What this means is, the Tennessee Titans are young. Pretty much this season is, it's just a learning season for Will Levis. You finally know who your quarterback is at this point. You finally know, you finally have a quarterback at this point. And, you just continue to let him grow and build and learn from these losses and even in some wins. But it's not like the Tennessee Titans are going to wave a magic wand and make the playoffs at some point. They were going to have to go young at the quarterback position, because Ryan Tannehill just wasn't looking like the future of the franchise here early on in the season. Said big win, big divisional win. You set yourself up for a big divisional win to kind of going up against Houston. If you win that game, you are 2 games ahead, sole lead in first place of the AFC South. So it's a big game for Jacksonville coming up. You set yourself up with that one. This team has been playing solidly. There's been times, where the Jacksonville Jaguars have looked a little lethargic, especially in their 3 losses at home. All 3 losses have come at home, but Jacksonville Jaguars are definitely a solid player, and I expect them to make the playoffs, especially in the wild card of the AFC. Next game we have on the slate, we have the Las Vegas Raiders going into Miami to face the Dolphins, as they drop that game 13-20 here. Tua Tagovailoa, not Tua Tagovailoa, Aiden O'Connell, 24-41, 271 yards, 1 touchdown, 3 interceptions on the day. Josh Jacobs, 14 carries, 39 yards, no touchdowns. Devontae Adams, 7 catches, 82 yards, 1 touchdown on the game. He was the leading receiver. And then on the other side, Tua Tagovailoa, 28 of 39, 325 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. Raheem Mostert, 22 carries, 86 yards. This is the game. Devin Achane, hurt his knee again. I think he landed on it. Somebody landed on it and kind of re-aggravated some bruising there. He wanted to get back into the game, but could not. But doctors would not let him get back into the game. But he, I think depends on how practice looks. Devin Achane may come back. Mike McDaniels may probably hold him out another week. Maybe it was probably premature bringing him off injured reserve as soon as he was ready to go. We probably should have waited another week for him to go. but nevertheless, we'll keep a monitor on that as the week progresses. Tyreek Hill, leading receiver here, 10 catches, 146 yards, 1 touchdown, as he continues his blazing season. Savion Ahmed was the other touchdown catch. 3 catches, 25 yards, 1 touchdown for Savion Ahmed. But yeah, the Miami Dolphins were able to sneak this game out. This one got interesting though here at the end, as the Las Vegas Raiders were able to get that ball back, and they had a chance to possibly go down there and score a touchdown to tie the game up. But it ended in an Aiden O'Connell interception that was intercepted by Jalen Ramsey, who had 2 interceptions on the day for that defense, as the Miami Dolphins scathed away and are 7-3 on the day, 7-3 on the year, and the Las Vegas Raiders are 5-6, 1-5 on the road. So yeah, they are a good home team this year, but on the road they are no bueno for the Las Vegas Raiders. So, and what does this mean for both teams? The Las Vegas Raiders, as I said, I mean, they're in the AFC West, they have a shot to possibly make the wild card. I'm not sure if Aiden O'Connell's the guy. I think that they said that. I think Antonio Pierce says that he is probably the quarterback for the rest of the year, with Jimmy Garoppolo being out with injury here. And when it comes to Miami is I believe Miami is in sole possession first place of the AFC East at 7-3 with a game ahead of the Buffalo Bills. So yeah, they're going to have a big game with Buffalo later on in the season. At the end of the season, that may be for the division crown here at the end in week 17, as they dropped one to Buffalo 48-20 in Buffalo early on in the season. But yeah, the Miami Dolphins, they have a pretty favorable schedule. They play the Jets twice in the next 4 weeks. They play the Commanders. They play the Titans, all losing teams. And then the last 3 weeks are tough, right? This is where we've been talking about them being an elite team. You have the Dallas Cowboys, the Baltimore Ravens, and the Buffalo Bills to end your season here for the Miami Dolphins. So shout out to the Miami Dolphins for this big win that they had against the Las Vegas Raiders as they move into first place of the AFC East. Next game we have on the slate, we have the Dallas Cowboys going into Carolina at Bank of America Stadium and putting a thumping on the Carolina Panthers. Really wasn't close, 33-10, as they move up in the AFC East standings as well. This was all about their defense here. The Dallas Cowboys were able to turn the ball over. They were able to get a couple pick sixes here on the season. Dak Prescott, 25-38, 189 yards, 2 touchdowns on the day. Cooper Rush came in and played in some junk duty here. Tony Pollard, 12 carries, 61 yards, and a touchdown on the ground. Brandon Cooks with another, leading the day on the as for all the receivers, 3 catches, 42 yards. CeeDee Lamb, 6 catches, 38 yards, 1 touchdown. Luke Schoonmaker with the touchdown here. And then Bryce Young, still learning, 16-29 yards, 16-29, 123 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception on the day. Chuba Hubbard, 10 carries, 57 yards. Miles Sanders, 11 carries, 50 yards, as they rushed for 110 yards on the day. Adam Thielen, your leading receiver, 8 catches, 74 yards on the day for Adam Thielen. Tommy Tremble had the lone touchdown for the Carolina Panthers. And on the Dallas side, Dallas had a defensive touchdown on a pick six from Deron Bland. Dallas was pretty much all over the field here against Carolina. They sacked Bryce Young 7 times. Dak Prescott pretty much, didn't have to put any soap on his jersey because he was pretty clean, as he had no sacks on the day for Carolina for Dak Prescott as that offensive line kept him upright for most of the day. But yes, nonetheless, Dallas Cowboys moved to 7-3, and the Carolina Panthers are 1-9 with no first round pick as that goes to the Chicago Bears on the season. What does it mean for the Dallas Cowboys? Absolutely nothing. They were supposed to win this game. What does it mean for the Carolina Panthers? I don't know what it means for the Carolina Panthers, to be honest with you, man. You pretty much lost everything when you traded DJ Moore and you traded for Bryce Young and you gave away your first round pick for this year. And that was big time. And if you're the Carolina Panthers, just continue to get better on the season. That's it. Let Bryce Young continue to grow into his into the quarterback position as you chose him to be the franchise quarterback. I expect them to have some changes here, not coaching wise, but I expect them to have changes. As improving the offensive line, I expect them to try and move back into the first round in this upcoming draft. I expect them to just get better overall. They have a lot of holes on this team. Defensively, the Carolina Panthers are, they're okay, but offensively is where they're challenged. Offensive line not good. They lack playmakers catching the football outside of Adam Thielen, so they're going to have to sew that up for the Carolina Panthers moving forward. Next game we have on the slate, and I was waiting along to see if TJ would come in here, to join for this game, but I will take care of this one here for the Bears fans as they go into Detroit, and they had a close game here as they led most of this game as they dropped 31-26 against the Detroit Lions. As the Detroit Lions moved to 8-2 on the season, Chicago Bears moved to 3-8. Welcome back, Justin Fields, 16-23, 169 yards, 1 touchdown through the air. He was the leading rusher of the day, 18 carries, 104 yards, no touchdowns. Dante Foreman had the lone touchdown. I believe he had the opening touchdown here in this game. And DJ Moore was happy to see Justin Fields back. 7 catches, 96 yards, 1 touchdown through the air, 1 touchdown on the catch. One touchdown catch for DJ Moore. As the Chicago Bears, like I said, man, they were able to control this game pretty much majority of the game. Very surprised that they let this one slip away. On the other side for Detroit, Jared Goff, 23 of 35, 2 touchdowns through 3 interceptions on the day. Not his best performance. David Montgomery, 12 carries, 76 yards, had the game-winning touchdown here late in the game. Jahmyr Gibbs, 8 carries, 36 yards, 1 touchdown. Amon-Ra St. Brown continues his great top 5 wide receiver season. 8 catches, 77 yards, 1 touchdown. He was a leading receiver for them. Jameson Williams finally getting in the touchdown column this week. 2 catches, 44 yards for Jameson Williams here. But yeah, it came down to coaching. I'm pretty sure that's what TJ would have came on here and said, that this game came down to coaching. Yes, so Chicago is up 12 points after they kicked the field goal. Detroit goes down, scores a touchdown. Jameis Williams gets the touchdown. So now Chicago, this is in the, I want to say this is in the still in the fourth quarter. 3 minutes left. You've been moving the football pretty much all game long. You haven't really punted the ball. You haven't punted. I mean, you had the 1 fumble early on. You punted 1 time. You had 1 fumble. And that was the fumble by Tyler Scott, which was big, and they were actually moving the football. They had good field position on that one after the interception. And one break, one moment here, ladies and gentlemen here. What? When is your pie? Sorry about that, ladies and gentlemen. When you have a little one, they just tend to ask you questions while you're doing stuff. Anyways, yes, going back to it, they haven't really punted the ball. They punted the ball one time. The defense has been turning the ball over. The defense has been turning them over consistently all game long. They had the one fumble off of the big time interception from Tyler Scott, which they should have capitalized on. But they gave the ball right back to Detroit. Detroit scored a touchdown right after that. And Detroit actually had the lead at half, but then it was all Chicago. The defense played well. They were constantly, constantly turning, constantly turning over the Detroit Lions. As the Lions I believe, had 4 turnovers in this football game. They had the fumble. They created the fumble. They had the fumble. They had created the fumble after the field goal in the third quarter. And then they scored a touchdown off of that fumble with DJ Moore for a 39-yard touchdown to DJ Moore. And then the very next play, the very next drive, they intercepted Jared Goff again for his 3rd interception as it started looking bleak, and they only got 3 points out of that, which is fine. You're up 23-14. Then after the field goal, you put them into 3 and out, and then you have a 14-play, 70-yard drive, which only ended in a field goal, which the Chicago Bears probably, 39-yard field goal, which the Chicago Bears should have, and this is my thing, is that 3rd and 7, 3rd and 7, they run the ball with Roschon Johnson. This is my thing with the Chicago Bears offensive coordinator Luke Getsy. What are you doing? What are you doing? Honestly, you run 3 straight run plays after a 29-yard scramble, and then you have a legal contact by the Detroit Lions. And you have a just questionable play calling just down the stretch here for the Chicago Bears. And then, after you kick the field goal, it's 26-14. Detroit goes down, scores a touchdown. Right? They come down, score a touchdown. There's just 2 minutes left in the game now, ladies and gentlemen. You go 3 and outs. Khalil Herbert, run for no gain. Detroit calls a timeout. 2nd and 10. Khalil Herbert, run for 1 yard. Detroit calls their second timeout. 2:51 left on the clock. 3rd and 9. Justin Fields pass, incomplete, deep left to Tyler Scott. And this is what gets me with Chicago Bears faithful, is that, Justin Fields, he's not clutch. He should have. No, and no. When you run 2 straight read option plays that just don't make any sense and the defense knows you're going to run them, you might want to call something else, right? You might want to call something else if you're Luke Getsy. Fire the guy immediately because he screwed up this game totally, especially in the last 2 drives. Then Detroit gets the touchdown. They get the touchdown there and basically leaving Justin Fields with 29 seconds left on the clock. And then there's the safety, the sack and the safety by Aiden Hutchinson, which was the fumble, which was kicked out of bounds by one of the linemen from the Chicago Bears, and that was all she wrote for this football game. But yeah, if I'm the Chicago Bears, especially Chicago Bears fans, I'm pissed today because it's just coaching. I don't understand what Luke Getsy is out there doing. I don't understand what he's calling. I don't understand the mindset. And then if you're Matt Eberflus, you're playing, you've been aggressive all game. And then you start to play prevent defense. You start to play this soft shell defense, which allows the Detroit Lions to come back into the game. Especially in that last drive, super soft shell defense. You're not being aggressive at all. We're blitzing. You guys are getting off on the edge. You guys were turning the ball over. You guys were playing amazing football all game. And in the fourth quarter, it's just like, oh, the game plan changes. Game plan changes as soon as it starts to get pressure. As soon as pressure starts to heat up, the game plan changes for these coaches on the Chicago Bears. It is despicable. The play calling is despicable. Justin Fields does not deserve half of the flack that he gets. This team is way better than 3-8. And the Detroit Lions, I commend them. 8-2. 8-2. Sole possession of the AFC North. They're probably going to win the AFC North. They're probably going to make the playoffs. Jared Goff, 3 interceptions, though. I didn't like that, but he's been playing particularly well all season long, so I can't hold them against that. But the Detroit Lions didn't win this game. The Chicago Bears lost this game. Think about that for a second. The Chicago Bears lost this football game due to coaching, bad personnel changes, bad game planning at the end of the game. You guys just got to be aggressive, remain aggressive, stop the conservative play calling, and you'll end up winning some of these football games. Next game we have on the slates, we have a surprise, and this was an upset of the week special here for Christian's New York Football Giants as they went into Washington and defeated the Commanders 31-19. Tommy DeVito, 18-26, 246 yards, 3 tutties on the day. He was sacked 9 times. That's expected with that offensive line. But Saquon Barkley, what a day. 14 carries, 83 yards on the ground. He had 4 catches, 57 yards, and 2 touchdowns through the air as he was pretty much just gashing the Washington Commanders with over 120 total yards and 2 touchdowns on the day. It's 100, and he had 140 total yards and 2 touchdowns on the day. Darius Slayton was the leading receiver, 4 catches, 82 yards, and a touchdown here on the day. Sam Howell, not the greatest, 31-45, 255 yards, 1 touchdown, 3 interceptions. Brian Robinson, another solid outing, 17 carries, 73 yards, no touchdowns on the game. Sam Howell was a leading had the only lone rushing touchdown on the day. 3 carries, 35 yards. After he had a big touchdown play that had 2 players ejected after punches were thrown in the game. Logan Thomas was the leading receiver, 58. Logan Thomas and Brian Robinson, both the leading receivers with 58 yards apiece. The lone touchdown goes to Jahan Dotson. This was a game in which Washington had 3 fumbles and 3 interceptions. You turn the ball over 6 times, you're not going to win the football game. I'm going to say that again. You turn the ball over 6 times, you are not going to win the football game. And this is what I say about the Washington Commanders. They are too inconsistent. And this is where new ownership steps in, Magic Johnson and company. They are going to see this at the end of the year, and Riverboat Ron's probably out. And, Eric Bieniemy, they'll probably have conversations with him probably being the next head coach. And I just don't see – I see a lot of changes at the end of the year. Sam Howell may not even be the franchise quarterback for them, right? Sam Howell, 3 up and down season. I know Sam Howell has played, okay, but, 3,000 yards so far, 18 touchdowns, 12 interceptions. He is in the bottom half in QBR. So very up and down season. I mean, there's games where Sam Howell is like, wow, oh my gosh, Sam Howell. But in the last 5 weeks, you dropped to the New York Giants, should have won that game. Dropped to the Seattle Seahawks, probably could have won that game. You beat the New England Patriots. You had a shootout with the Philadelphia Eagles. You were big in that game. Should have won that game 38, but you lost 38-31. And you got swept by the New York Giants. Come on, man. You just lost to them 5 weeks ago, 14-7, when PJ Walker was the quarter, when Tyrod Taylor was the quarterback. So you get swept by the Giants, and I always say the Giants play the Commanders really tough. But Sam Howell, we're 1-4 in the last 5 games. Not good. As they were 3-3 before they go on 1-4 here on the season. So yeah, Sam Howell, a lot of changes at the end of the year for both of these teams. We don't know what Daniel Jones' future looks like with the New York Giants. We don't know what the Washington Commanders' future looks like with all the coaching changes. I think that's about to happen, possibly at the quarterback position. There may be some changes there. So both franchise pretty much in limbo, but good win for the New York Giants. I always say this, and let me tell you this: Bobby Okereke should be an All-Pro on All-Pro team. This year, Bobby Okereke should be on All-Pro team. 14 tackles, 6 total. I mean, he's probably the hardest hitting linebacker in the NFL so far this season. He's laid some hits, and he's definitely been the guy that has been a game changer, the tone setter for the New York Giants whenever they needed a tone to be set for that team. But shout out to the New York Giants for winning that football game. Next game we have on the slate, and I believe we are entering our 3 o'clock window here. We had the Buccaneers, Tampa Bay Buccaneers, going into San Francisco to face the 49ers as they drop that game 27-14 as they move to 4-6, and the 49ers move to 7-3. Brock Purdy had himself a game, but let's start on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers side. Baker Mayfield, 29-45, 246 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. Could have very well been 4 interceptions because I probably counted about 3 that were dropped by the San Francisco 49ers defense. Rachaad White with the lone rushing touchdown on the day. Mike Evans had a touchdown through the air, had the lone catching touchdown. Cade Otton dropped a gimme there in the end zone at the end that would have brought this game to a 1-possession game. He had 4K. He was the leading receiver, 4 catches, 49 yards, and he also cost this guy. I didn't pay $4,000. It was a $10 bet. But this guy, if Cade Otton would have caught that ball, this guy would have been $4,000 richer. Well, yeah, Cade Otton did not catch that football. Didn't make it a 1-possession game. Didn't win this guy any money. We were very close, though. Baker Mayfield had 2 turnovers on the day. And then on the other side, Brock Purdy, 21-25, nearly perfect. 3 touchdowns. Christian McCaffrey, leading rusher, 21 carries, 78 yards. Brandon Ayuk had in a monster game, 5 catches, 156 yards, 1 touchdown. George Kittle, 8 catches, 89 yards and a touchdown. And Christian McCaffrey with another receiving touchdown on the year, 5 catches, 225 yards and a touchdown. As the San Francisco 49ers move to 7-3. What does this mean for both teams? The Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The NFC South is still open. You can still win that division. I believe even with the loss moving to 4-6, they are still 1 game out of first place between the Saints and the Falcons. It's a 3-team race for that NFC South division title. So they are still in it to say. And then what it means for the San Francisco 49ers, 2 wins in a row after dropping 3 in a row. They are back in it, and this defense just looks terrifying. I mean, with Chase Young, with Nick Bosa on one end, Eric Armstead, Fred Warner, Javarius Ward, Dre Greenlaw, Javon Hargrave. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. Chase Young with a sack in this game. Nick Bosa with a sack in this game. They have 4 sacks on the game as a team. But this team is just absolutely terrifying. Those 3 guys, Armstead, Young, and Bosa, all had sacks on this day, and they hit Baker Mayfield. He was just running for like a chicken with his head cut off. 8 quarterback hits on the day, 11 passes deflected, and a lot of them, some of them were coming right at the line as well. As the San Francisco 49ers defense just looks just absolutely sensational on defense, just getting Chase Young. But yeah, what it means for San Francisco 49ers, man, they are, pretty much the cream of the crop when it comes to the NFC West. With Geno Smith going down, we'll get to that in a second here, but they are leading the charge here in the NFC West, 7-3 on the season. The Seattle Seahawks are 6-4 right behind them. It's pretty much a 2-team race in that division. So yeah, the San Francisco 49ers move to the top in the AFC, in the NFC West on the year. Moving on to the next 3 o'clock game, we got the Jets and the Bills. Nothing much to say here, as TJ last week said, hey, the Bills are going to get the brakes beat off. The Jets are going to get the brakes beat off them after the Week 1 loss to the New York Jets, and the Bills did absolutely that. On the New York side, Zach Wilson 7-15, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. Tim Boyle came in 7-14, 33 yards, 1 interception, as he will probably be the quarterback for the New York Jets moving forward. Breece Hall, 10 carries, 23 yards. Breece Hall, also the leading receiver with 5 catches, 50 yards and a touchdown, as this New York Jets offense is just lethargic without Aaron Rodgers. We don't even know what it looked like with Aaron Rodgers, as he was injured super early in the season. Josh Allen, really bounced back game, 20-32, 3 touchdowns, 1 interception. Once he got sacked one time. James Cook, 17 carries, 73 yards, was the leading rusher for the day. Khalil Shakur was the leading receiver here, 3 catches, 115 yards, 1 touchdown. Ty Johnson also with the touchdown in this game, and James Cook with the touchdown in this game. Dalton Kincaid continues to be impressive, 6 catches, 46 yards at the tight end position as a rookie. And the Buffalo Bills did what they were supposed to do at home. They were supposed to win this football game, as right now they are 1 game behind the Miami Dolphins. What this means for New York Jets, nothing, absolutely nothing. They didn't have much of a chance to win this game on the road. I think the Week 1 game was just was an outlier. I think that team played with a lot of motivation after Aaron Rodgers went down. But yeah, Buffalo Bills were the better team and played like the better team on the day. Next game we got on the slate, we had the Seattle Seahawks going into LA and playing the Rams, as they drop that game 17-16 in a close one there, as they kicked the field goal, as the Rams kicked the field goal to win the football game as time expired here. As the Seattle Seahawks go to 6-4, and the Los Angeles Rams go to 4-6. Geno Smith knocked out the game, 22-34, 33 yards, 1 touchdown. Zach Charbonnet, Kenneth Walker was also knocked out the game as well. Zach Charbonnet was the leading rusher, 15 carries, 47 yards on the day. DK Metcalf had himself another great week. I think it's 3 weeks in a row, 5 catches, 94 yards, 1 touchdown on the day. Matthew Stafford on the other side, 17-31, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. Royce Freeman was the leading rusher with 17 carries, 73 yards, no touchdowns. Darrell Henderson was a lone touchdown, had the lone touchdown on the ground for the running backs. And receiving, Puka Nacua, 5 catches, 70 yards, 1 touchdown, had an early touchdown in the game. I believe Cooper Kupp was knocked out early in this game, didn't return. He had only 1 catch, 11 yards on the day. Jason Myers missed a potential game-winning field goal here at the end, as the Seattle Seahawks very much could have won this game. Drew Lock came in there, filled admirably for Geno Smith, but just wasn't meant to be, as the Seattle Seahawks dropped one and moved to 6-4 on the season. Next game we have on the slate, and this is the last game of Week 11, and it is Sunday Night Football, as the Minnesota Vikings went into Denver to face the Denver Broncos, and they dropped one after being. This is a game of 2 of the hottest teams in the NFL, pretty much, as the Denver Broncos beat the Minnesota Vikings 21-20 off an amazing catch by Cortland Sutton in the end of the game, as Denver Broncos moved to 5-5 and win, I believe, 4 in a row for the Denver Broncos. On the Minnesota side, Joshua Dobbs continues to stellar play, 20-32, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. Alexander Mattison was the leading rusher, 81 yards. Ty Chandler with 73 yards, as the Minnesota ran for 175 yards as a total as a team. Joshua Dobbs with the lone rushing touchdown on the day. Josh Oliver with the lone catch of the day, lone receiving touchdown on the day. He had 4 catches, 47 yards. C.J. Hockenson, 4 catches, 55 yards. A bit of a letdown game after setting an NFL record in the first half last week. And then on Denver side, Denver just continues to play great defense. Russell Wilson, 27 to 35, 1 touchdown through the air. Javonte Williams, 11 carries, 37 yards. They didn't really do it through the ground. They did it on the air. Cortland, 74 catches, 66 yards, and he had the game-winning touchdown there at the end. As they, I think he scored a touchdown with pretty much just a little bit over a minute to go for the Minnesota Vikings here in the end. I believe he caught the ball with 2 minutes left he caught the ball with 1 minute left in the game for the Minnesota Vikings to try and score, as the Minnesota Vikings couldn't get downfield in 1 minute to win the game. But what this means for both teams, man, hey, look, Denver Broncos, I'll say this, man. Hey, after starting the season off, what they start the season off? 1-5? They started off the season 1-5. They have now won 4 in a row. They have now taken the mantle from the Minnesota Vikings as the hottest team in the NFL. Sean Payton should be proud of how this team has basically turned the season around and what it means for the Minnesota Vikings. Hey, man, they won 5 in a row before this game. This is a close game. Denver was hot. They were playing great defense. It came down to the wire. Next week, they go back home to play the Chicago Bears, who are looking for revenge as they, lost their last game 19-13 there in Soldier Field. So the Chicago Bears are looking to revenge that loss there in Minnesota. I believe Justin Jefferson should possibly be back by then. I believe that is a Sunday night. That might be the 27th. It might be Sunday. It might be a Monday night football game there. There is a Monday night football game this week for the Minnesota Vikings and Chicago Bears. There are reports that Justin Jefferson may be coming back in the next couple of weeks. We'll keep an eye on that this week for practice. But yeah, the Minnesota Vikings are just totally fine. They are right there, just right behind the Detroit Lions. 2 games back from first place, but they're one of the leading teams to possibly get a wild card spot here on the season. Getting Justin Jefferson will help them tremendously, as they have pretty much they pretty much have a favorable schedule in the next 3 weeks. You got the Chicago Bears, you got the Las Vegas Raiders, and you got the Cincinnati Bengals with no Joe Burrow. Those are all 3 games that you could possibly win right there, setting up a divisional matchup between the Detroit Lions and yourselves there at home. And then you face the Green Bay Packers, who you already beat on the season as well. They're at home as well to end the season. And then you face the Detroit Lions on the road, which possibly could be for the division crown there. So the Minnesota Vikings are looking well. This was just an excellent game for both teams. But one of the teams had to win or, could have ended in a tie. But, one of the teams, they were both hot. And the hotter team, on this night won for the Denver Broncos as they move to 5-5, as they look like a player to win, to get a wild card spot in the AFC so far. But anyways, that has been a wrap, ladies and gentlemen, for Prime Sports World here on week 11. Please like, share, and subscribe to the podcast here at Prime Sports World as we bring the heat every day, 24/7, bringing you the hottest up-to-date content here on social media in the sports world. And in case you missed this live feed, you can catch us here on all streaming platforms where podcasts can be heard. That is Apple Podcasts, Sound Podcasts, Amazon, iHeartRadio, and Spotify. Ladies and gentlemen, it's Prime Sports World. Keeps it locked in all around the axis, 360 degrees, ladies and gentlemen, here. And we should be getting Monday Night Football here within 15 minutes. Like I said, hey, don't forget to catch Christian live. Watch as he covers the game there on Twitch on the Nerd Spot. You guys don't want to miss that as well on Twitch. I am putting up the live feed here so you guys can catch Christian my main man, Christian Simpson, here as he covers the Philadelphia Eagles and the Kansas City Chiefs, a rematch of the Super Bowl last year. And you don't want to miss the article that he just dropped for the Philadelphia Eagles and the Kansas City Chiefs game. So you guys don't want to miss that hot content that Christian drops on the Daily Blitz.blog. But ladies and gentlemen, it's been real. It's been great. And like I said, we will see you here tomorrow for the Monday Night Football recap in the Monday Night Football review and Week 12 review and Monday Night Football recap tomorrow. And then Wednesday, we will come here with Fantasy Football Weekly as I bring my rankings here for you guys. So you guys don't want to miss that hot content. And then on Friday, Black Friday, we will be bringing College Football Showdown for Week 12 of the season. So you guys don't want to miss that schedule here from Prime Sports World. But like I said, ladies and gentlemen, it's been real. It's been great. And in case I missed you, good afternoon, good evening, and good night, ladies and gentlemen. Hey, and also I got the Philadelphia Eagles winning tonight here. I will take the points for the Philadelphia Eagles to win tonight. Or I just take them straight up, to be honest with you. But I got the Philadelphia Eagles going into Arrowhead and winning that football game tonight. I'll give it a score 28-25 on a field goal here by Jake Elliott. Boom! As you heard it first here from Israel Rivera at Prime Sports World. As I like to say, guys, peace out and sayonara, suckers.